What's going on, yo? Welcome back to Misplayed Magic, where I like to draft with a challenge. Today's challenge is Mono-Colored Madness again. Well, I guess we'll do something different than Mono Red for this episode. I see a Waterbending scroll, and I'm intrigued. We've never done Mono Blue on the channel before. Is today our day? Maybe. But then this next pack has no really good cards. Don't like a cat owl, so I take the Flopsy Boomy's Buddy here as a decent enough green card. If we go mono green here, I take a North Pole Patrol. I want to do mono blue. I can see it on the horizon today. Here, I don't mind the Sokka Lateral Strategist. I think that card is actually pretty decent. Here, first time flyer, really solid follow up to that. Nice 2-mana flying ally. Here, we take the Rowdy Snowballers. Better than the Platypus Bear, I think. Not the best card in the world, but also not nothing. Here, we end up taking a Platypus Bear. Not a ton of good blue cards to start here. Now, we take it for the absolute bit. It is a mythic, but we're not going to be playing it today. Secret of Bloodbending is just not that good. Here I take a Turtle Duck. Maybe we'll flip back into mono green if mono blue really isn't there. We take a Fire Nation Warship, can go into any monocolored deck, which is nice. I also like the Barrels of Blasting Jelly. There's not a ton of removal in blue, so I think having that in our back pocket's not so bad. Here, a lot of filler as we round out this first pack. Moving on now into this second one. Again, not the best pack ever. I probably would have taken the Watery Grasp if I could do it again, but I end up taking the Sokka Lateral Strategist here, which is not bad at all, but a lot of 3-mana cards. Here we take the Tai Li Chi Blocker. That's a tongue twister. Here we take the Katara Bending Prodigy, so a ton of 3-mana creatures. That's not great. So here we take an Abandoned Attachments, trying to lower our curve a little bit. Now, I do think Kama, the Bloodbender, is a pretty decent top-end blue creature, so we do end up taking that there, followed by the Serpent of the Past, which can be good. We don't have a ton of lessons right now, but that card can be all right. Here, I take the Kyoshi Battle Fan. I want to have early creatures. It's also really great with Waterbending, having 2 things you can tap. Here we take the Iguana Pair. It's not fantastic. And another Rowdy Snowballer is probably not going to make its way into our deck, but we'll end up picking that here as well. Now, I don't mind taking an Octopus form here at all. I think this card's actually pretty solid. It is a lesson as well. Here we take our millionth Rowdy Snowballers. That card is just making its way towards us. Here we'll take a Flexible Waterbenders, but that card's not good. We'll play it if we have to. Here, the Geyser Leapers, okay. We'll round it out with the Plains. How about in this last pack? We're pretty locked into mono blue here, so we're just looking to pick up as many good blue cards as we can. We end up taking a Messenger Hawk, which is decent. Didn't want another Rowdy Snowballers. Here, Idle Quincha is totally fine. We end up taking that as a solid 2-mana play. More Rowdy Snowballers. We actually take a Hama, the Bloodbender here, which is not bad. Another Waterbending Scroll. That card's not great, but in our deck, it could be decent. Pretty excited to see that here. Now we take another Waterbending lesson. Our card draw is going to be incredible. I don't know how we're going to win games. We're going to figure it out. Here, we'll take a Lost Days as a really solid top end of our mana curve. Here, we go ahead and take another Kyoshi Battle Fan. That card's really, really solid for Waterbending. If you're passing on it, maybe start taking it. Here, I wanted more of these. I wanted a lot more Otter Penguins, but we get the one, which I'm excited about. Here, we'll take the Welltop Sentries, not playing it. Now we'll take a Platypus Bear, probably not playing it. Here, another Rowdy Snowballers. Now we'll take an Iguana Parrot. Here, Giant Koi's actually a pretty decent top end. Waterbending 3 can make it unblockable. We're looking for any sort of win con we can find here. This deck is looking pretty dicey. End up cutting the Secret of Bloodbending, a Flexible Waterbender, some Snowballers, and an Iguana Parrot. This deck looks rough. And just a reminder, if I get 0 wins in this draft, I'm giving away a Collector Booster Pack to one of you. All the way down, if I get 7 wins, I'm giving away a draft. All I have to do to claim this is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below, and let's jump into some games here. Hopefully we can get at least 1 win. Here we go first. We're keeping this opening hand. We can start by playing our Otter Penguin on turn 2, which I am excited about. I'm hoping that we can potentially get the Waterbending Scroll online so we can start drawing cards, making that an unblockable 3/3 every turn. Here they've got a Raucous Audience. I hate when my opponents ramp into some bigger spells, so I try to attack them. I offer a trade here with our Penguin. We end up playing the Tai Li Chi Blocker on our turn to tap that down so they can't ramp into any shenanigans. I think it ended up being the right call, but let me know in the comments if you would have done that as well. Here, Glider Kids is totally solid. We actually get crazy here. I go ahead and I play a Waterbending Scroll. I kind of want to get aggressive, as crazy as that sounds. So I go ahead, I draw a card here. I want to get the Otter Penguin to be an unblockable 3/3. Maybe this was me being impatient, but I kind of think it was a fun play. We end up drawing the Giant Koi as well, which is not bad. And then our Waterbending Scroll is just getting better and better every turn we can play an island. Here they do play the Path to Redemption on our Waterbending, which is a bummer. So we go ahead, we play the Waterbending Prodigy. We go ahead, we draw a card here. Maybe should have played the first time flyer. That might have been a little bit of a misstep, but we didn't do that there, which is totally fine. We've still got some decent card draw, and I still like our top end decent enough. Here we just start by drawing a card here, really just trying to draw into more lands. We end up playing the first time flyer. We've got an Octopus form should we want it, but we also can just draw a card here with the Waterbending Prodigy. We're going to take some small hits from their 2-3. I thought about playing the Octopus form there on the first time flyer and trying to kill their thing, but with mana up on our opponent's side, it didn't feel like the right play. And our opponent is starting to do some solid things across the way from us. They do have 2 colors in their deck, which feels like cheating at this point. So here we go ahead. We draw a card for free, which is exciting. I'm excited we get to do that. Our Otter Penguin is unblockable, but unfortunately cannot attack. And now I'm thinking to myself, if we just have a Giant Koi, and we make the Giant Koi unblockable, in theory, our opponent is on a 3-turn clock. So that's sort of where all of my ideas are going. They have 11 Legend of Kyoshi here, which is really good. They get to end up drawing 3 cards here, which is really, really nice. We also have a lot of cards in our hand. So I'm going to start here by just making our Giant Koi unblockable. Kind of my entire game plan is hope this works. We've got the Octopus form now untapped as well. So we can go ahead and cast that and save our Giant Koi should we need to. Here we use the How of the Bloodbender. A little bit of a misstep here. We actually pull the Origin of Metal Bending. We could have gotten rid of their Legend of Kyoshi enchantment, but I didn't super notice that, so I just passed back to our opponent. We couldn't cast it here. So they get to Earthbend for 6. Definitely a misstep on my part. Here we do, though, get to fire off the Octopus form on our Giant Koi, which is exciting. We get to untap it. It's a 6/8. It does not lose the ability to attack and block, but our opponent is starting to really curve out across the way from us. So I'm starting to get a little bit nervous here. We draw another card with the Waterbending Scroll, which is awesome. We have so many cards in hand. We just don't have a ton of win conditions in this deck. So here, though, I go ahead. I play our Kyoshi Battle Fan. I want to give us something to tap down so that our Giant Koi can attack unblocked for 5 damage. So we go ahead. We play that. We tap it down. Along with the token it made as well, along with our Otter Penguin. And then we can attack for 5. And the whole goal is that our opponent doesn't have a removal effect. Here I thought about firing off the Origin of Metal Bending, but it didn't seem super worth it at this point, just because the 5-4 they were going to make isn't that important. And I'm pretty invested in just trying to get this Giant Koi to be able to take out our opponent. We end up just playing things out onto our board. I'm trying to make sure we don't lose on this crack pack, and then we can just attack with our Giant Koi. That is until they play a Jet Freedom Fighter that is exactly 7 points of damage. Well, 8 when it comes in to our Giant Koi. Okay, so we have to have a new game plan here. I'm a little bit nervous at this point. We do still have a lot of cards in hand, which is great, but our opponent has got a huge board state across the way from us. We go ahead, and Waterbend 6 to draw a card with our Waterbending Prodigy, which is awesome. We have so much card draw. My new plan is this. We can attack with our flyer here. If they block, which they do, we can play our Origin of Metal Bending. We can go ahead and take out their flyer here by just tapping some Kyoshi Battle Fans, which I'm a fan of. They end up debating for a minute here, but then sacrificing the Hakoda to give their flyer indestructible until end of turn, which is cool. And now my entire game plan is just that we can play our Geyser Leaper, and then next turn we drew that Lost Days. We can go ahead and play that on their flyer and hopefully swing through for lethal damage. I end up drawing the Fire Nation Worship, which was not bad at all, just trying to be as conservative as we possibly can here. And our opponent does have a pretty good card, the Badger Maul, which gives every creature they have with a counter on it trample, which is pretty good. So they swing out for a bajillion here. I go ahead, I make the proper blocks. Even if they had Yip Yip, they wouldn't have killed us, which is fantastic. They end up not killing us, and then, they're all the way tapped out, but our Lost Days also would have got it done, and we get there. In this first game, Mono Blue maybe has some legs. Like, this is the hardest color to do. Let me know. What color do you think is the hardest to do this challenge for? But we'll want to know, so I cannot complain. Hopping into this second game, we've got the Waterbending Scroll on 2, which I'm excited about again. Next turn, we could play an island, and then we could potentially try and draw a card. The turn after this, Sokka, Lateral Strategist, not a bad play at all here either. They have a Canyon Crawler, which they're swamp cycling for a swamp. And they've got Team Avatar here. They play just on the battlefield, which felt really strange to me. We go ahead, we attack for 2 here, and then we just play our Waterbending Lesson. It's just a 4 mana draw 3, which feels pretty good. We can just sort of waterbend with our Sokka and then our Waterbending Scroll. So I'm liking the way we're setting up here. And then our opponent plays an Azula on the Hunt, which by itself is not the best card in the world. It's definitely not bad. Like, definitely something we should be on the lookout for, but is not spectacular. And then they play a Beetle Hedger Merchant. They do end up attacking us here. And this is where I think I had a little bit of a misstep. I think I really like my chances should we double block here and trade with one of our creatures. We still have a ton of cards in hand, a ton of things to do. And you'll see that card just becomes pretty annoying for us to deal with. They end up drawing a lot of cards off of it. And I think that was really where I sort of went wrong here. Definitely took the aggressive line there as well by removing their thing and then being able to attack and then draw a card. And you'll just see the Azula gets annoying, and then they play the Beifong's Bounty Hunters, which is insane. So basically, anytime we kill that or another creature, they Earthbend equal to that creature's power. So definitely wishing they didn't just have an Azula on the hunt on the battlefield right now. They end up firing off a Heartless Act as well on our flyers, so I just feel like we really did not do well in that exchange. But hindsight's 2020. I don't know that I would have done anything super differently. We end up getting the Heartless Act back. We get to take out their Bounty Hunters, but they still get to make a 4/4. I feel like we put so many resources into that, and all we get is kind of nothing, which is really, really tough. I think it's what makes Beifong's Bounty Hunters such a great Magic card. But, you know, it is what it is. We'll look to claw back. We've still got the Octopus form should we need it next turn. So kind of my goal is that we can surprise, sneak block. But we're at 8 here. We took some really big hits from the Azula on the hunt. They've got the low and lead Twin Tutors, which makes the Azula have lifelink, which is brutal. Here, we play the Octopus form. We get to untap our 3/3. I don't really know what I was thinking, but I ended up double blocking here. Could have just single blocked. I gave it hexproof. But double block is still totally fine as well. They actually end up taking out the Sokka, the lateral strategist. But then their health goes all the way back up to 11. So we're in kind of a weird spot here. We still have a lot of cards in hand. And here we just kind of try to rebuild our board state out. We go ahead and play the Sokka, the lateral strategist. We play the North Pole Patrol, and then we also play the Barrels of Blasting Jelly. Our best removal effect, as crazy as that sounds. Here they play a Tolls of War, which is solid. They can draw a card with that clue. They can also make a 1/1. They have another Azula on the hunt, which is kind of brutal. Here I go for a triple block, which was mildly psychotic, but I think it was the right play just to get rid of their 7/7. We go ahead here. We draw a card. And then here's where I get kind of crazy. I take out their Azula, and in my head, I'm thinking we don't have a ton of action in hand. I got to put some pressure on our opponent, right? Wrong. Probably wasn't my best idea to attack here. Definitely could have held this up, especially because they have the ability to buff their attack. I wasn't really thinking through that. I was kind of playing cards quickly here. But now they basically make it to where we have to block with our Katara, which was a pretty unforced error on my part. Again, don't know that it totally would have made a difference here, but definitely not the right call by me to attack with our Hollow the Bloodbender. Because here our double block is not so bad for us to take out one of our things. We trade. Doesn't feel awful, but now we lose our thing. They get to make another 1/1, and all of a sudden, it feels pretty bad. I will say, they still would have been able to make a giant 1/1 with Menace every single turn with all the creatures they had on the battlefield, so not entirely sure it would have mattered here. Now we just play out a giant Koi. We'll play out our Kyoshi Battle Fan. We're doing everything we can not to die, but as you'll see, it's not going to matter. They do have the Azula Always Lies here, so they can get rid of our 2/1 pretty easily. Then they have a Path to Redemption on the giant Koi as well, and yeah, it doesn't end up super great for us here. We end up going down in the second one. We're 1-1. Definitely some missteps here. I could have done stuff a little bit differently, but again, not entirely sure it would have mattered. All right, hopping into this next one, trying to have a Goldfish Memory. We go ahead, we play the Barrels of Blasting Jelly on turn 1. Turn 2, we can play the Kyoshi Battle Fan, which is not bad. They have a Grand on turn 1, which is a fantastic Magic card, so I'm definitely afraid of that. We'll play the Kyoshi Battle Fan. I would 100% trade that with a Grand if I could. They go ahead, they follow over their Forecasting Fortune Teller, which is another just solid card, and we draw no lands. So we have to go get one the hard way by land cycling our giant Koi, which doesn't feel great. We're not attacking. We're a little bit limited as it currently stands. Our opponent goes ahead. They just crack that clue that they have. If I were them, I would consider, well, they boomerang basic and then they attacked everywhere. So we're kind of getting smoked here. We end up drawing a first-time flyer, which isn't great. I guess we just hold up our Tai Chi blocker, and then we can tap down the Forecasting Fortune Teller, but even this doesn't feel spectacular. We go ahead, we fire it off, we tap down their 1/3, which doesn't feel great. I thought about the Grand, but it's kind of a free trigger for them, but I don't know. We end up not drawing lands for that turn either. So now we're pretty far behind. Our opponent has got 5 lands. We've got 3. Make that 6. Then they play a Legend of Kyoshi. They only draw 1 card here, which is kind of crazy. I mean, I guess that card is still decent. Even if you do that, we finally draw another land. We then play our Waterbending Scroll, which is definitely something. And then we attack with our first-time flyer. We get our opponent on a 19. We end up drawing a card here as well, which is a nice discounted card, but we're still just trying to draw lands. I think had we had 5 lands earlier in this game, we would have had a much better chance. I really want to cast the Lost Days on their 5/5 they just made from their Legend of Kyoshi. I think that's sort of my goal here. And I think if we draw a land, we've actually got a pretty decent spot. We put the island back on top of their deck. We do end up blocking the Grand here, which, look, we traded a rare for uncommon, but that Grand can do some work. We end up not drawing the land. I kind of just rage draw here with the Waterbending Scroll, which ends up being fine. We end up playing the Sokka Lateral Strategist here, which I guess can be good, but now I'm really worried about our life total with the 5/5 and now a 5/4 coming in. It's just kind of brutal. So we're pretty far behind. And then they play the Monstrous Serpent, which I don't even know what this does. It's a coma. It's insane. I'll save you all the trouble. It made a bunch of 3/3s, and we got absolutely smoked the turn after this one. And we go down in this one as well. So quickly, we go from 1-0 to 1-2. Can we bounce back in this next one? I hope so. We've got a pretty slow hand here. We've got the Barrels of Blasting Jelly on turn 1, which is totally fine. But then we don't have another play into the North Pole Patrol, into a Waterbending Lesson. We have a ton of lands. We have a lot of things to do with mana. Should we draw those, like drawing cards, or whatever that might be. Here, Kyoshi Battle Fan on turn 2 is fantastic. We play our 2/1. And I feel pretty decent about attacking here with our 2/1. We can hold up the Tai Li Chi blocker for our opponent's turn. We can tap down wherever they play here and actually get a pretty decent attack. They have a Platypus Bear, and I think that's a decent enough target for it. So I go ahead and I fire off the Tai Li Chi blocker on our opponent's Platypus Bear, only forget to immediately get countered, which feels bad. So here we end up playing an island. I go ahead, I just do the Waterbending Lesson. We draw some more cards and a lot more islands. I did end up playing 17 today, which is definitely the upper limit of how many you want to do in a monocolored deck, but I just thought we had so many things to sink mana into. Who cares if we have a couple extra lands? We're going to be drawing so many cards anyways. Our opponent plays a Sokka here, and then they discard some green cards, which was really interesting to me. Not entirely sure what our opponent's doing. Rankings did reset. We're playing a bronze opponent. Maybe they just have a crazy deck. Here they try to counter our Katara, which we can pay the mana for. Which is fine, I guess. It does save it so we can't draw a card. Here they play the Jet's Brainwashing. They attack us everywhere, which again was confusing. So we go ahead and we block the Sokka. And then they turn our 2/3 into a 3/4 for us, which feels good. So now we're ahead on board, we're ahead on cards, and I'm starting to feel pretty good. Like, we actually have a chance in this. When we go ahead, we play the North Pole Patrol as well. I go ahead and I fire off the Abandoned Attachments. I guess we could potentially pull an Octopus form. So that was kind of my thoughts here as to why I did that on our turn and not on their turn. We also turn our Katara into a 4/5, which feels pretty good. And here we just continue to build our board out. We can actually attack with our Katara, get our opponent down to 11. And then I just play a couple things. We can play our first time flyer. We can play our Sokka Lateral Strategist. And I like our board state now. Our opponent's only got 3 cards in hand. We've got the ability to draw more, and we get it down there as well. We're 2-2. Can we finish up on the day? Hopping into this 5th game, we start with a Barrels of Blasting Jelly. I think this hand looks totally fine. The Kyoshi Battle Fan is, again, right on time. We can go ahead and play that as a 2/1, which is not bad at all. And then next one, we can either play the Tai Li Chi blocker or the Katara Bending Prodigy. So pretty excited about that potential as well. Here, I go with the Katara Bending Prodigy. We have so many artifacts and things out there already. We can pretty easily draw a card with that 6 Waterbending. Here they have the Suki, which I'm afraid of. So every time it leaves, they get to make a 1/1 creature on their turn. Another creature leaves, excuse me. And then they play the land that essentially allows you to pay 4 and tap it to put a counter on every creature you control into an Aang, the Last Airbender, which is an insanely strong uncommon. We end up getting a little swifty here, playing the Tai Li Chi blocker, tapping down the Aang, drawing a card with the Katara, which I think is as good as we could have done. I think that was the best line there. Here we wish we could have drawn a land, but we don't. I think the Lost Days would have potentially been good there. But here we just play the first time flyer. We play the Katara Bending Prodigy, and then we can draw with the Katara Bending Prodigy on the end of our opponent's turn, maybe blocking well. They do have an Earth Kingdom Soldier here, which is solid. They do end up attacking everywhere, which I found a little bit curious. We do go ahead and block here with everything but the Tai Li Chi blocker. We do draw a card, but we do end up trading our Katara for their 3/5, which doesn't feel great, but also doesn't feel bad. I actually don't mind that exchange for us at all. We end up drawing that land, so we do have the Lost Days up. I decide to opt into playing the Geyser Leaper here instead of that. I think it's just a little bit stronger, and we're going to start attacking our opponent back. I think our goal is just to attack through the skies, and hopefully that's how we can get there in this game. They do play a Kyoshi Warriors, which I'm a little bit nervous about, and they start to just build a super, super wide board, which they're going to also be able to put counters on every single thing they control. We start drawing some cards here at the end of our turn, but we have a lot of expensive cards in hand and not a lot of mana or resources, I should say, that we're able to use. Here, probably a misstep too, playing the Abandoned Attachments. Should have probably just fired off the Hama, the Bloodbender there, because now we have a bunch of cards stuck in our hand. We can attack for 6 in the sky, which is not bad, but we're opening ourselves up to a really, really big counterattack, which does not feel spectacular here. They end up attacking us everywhere on their turn. I block as if they had the ability to put a counter on every single creature they control, which they do. They end up not doing it here, which is, I guess, not super surprising. And this is kind of where I know we're probably dead. Not entirely sure what I could have done differently here, but yeah, this is where we go down. Tribe Captain is insult to injury. So the only thing I really can do here is continue to draw cards, see what could have happened, but they just have a huge board state and the ability to every single turn put a 1/1 counter on every creature they have. So we do the only thing we can. We continue attacking. We give them down to 10. But yeah, they have just a monstrous board across the way from us, and this is where our mono blue deck unfortunately goes down. They're able to draw a card and then put a 1/1 counter on every single creature they control. They definitely took their time here, but yeah, pretty fun swing out, and then just pump your entire board with a 1/1 counter. Kind of sick from our opponent. Don't think I could have done anything differently. Because I think the longer this game goes, honestly, the worse it is for us. Even if we're drawing cards, we cannot keep up with the Abandoned Air Temple, and this is where we go down, unfortunately. So this was a really fun run today. This is the mono blue deck that goes down. I went 2 and 3, so based on my performance, I'm going to be doing a giveaway of 2 booster packs of Avatar: The Last Airbender. All you have to do to claim this is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. Thank y'all so much for watching. Until next time.